the victims of Muzaffarnagar, there is no respite. First, they face communal riots, live in fear, then they are thrown out of their temporary homes, the refugee camps. All along, they have had to hear politicians talk about everything else but the plight of these people. Now, as newspaper reports suggest, that the riot victims allege that terror group, the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Pak-backed Lashkar-e-Taiba, approached some youth. Even then, the politicians are not talking about national security and the possible threat of these terror groups targeting these vulnerable people. Instead, it has become a political fight that's dirty and honestly extremely predictable. Joining me tonight on this big debate from the Congress, we'll have Randeep Singh Surjewala joining us in just a bit. Shehzad Poonawala, an activist who has been working with the riot victims in Muzaffarnagar, is joining me here in the Noida studios. And Abdul Qadir Chaudhary, General Secretary and spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, is also joining me from Mumbai. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Let me start with you, Mr. Chaudhary. Today, one of the tallest Muslim leaders, as he's called by many, from the Samajwadi Party, Azam Khan, when he was asked about, reports of how there are two members, or rather two people from Muzaffarnagar, whether they are riot victims or not, is still in the realm of speculation. When they said that they were approached by Lashkar-e-Taiba operatives, what Azam Khan said was, this could have happened to make the words of the prince, quote unquote, come true, referring to Rahul Gandhi. At a time, Mr. Chaudhary, when such a strong allegation is being made, when we are talking about national security, when we are talking about a clear and present threat, not just to the country, more specifically to these people who are being tried to be lured by extremely powerful and sinister forces, all that your party can come up with is politics, is a dirty politicized game.
Can I?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Now, please give me a few minutes and do not interrupt. Later on, if you do not give me a chance, it will be fine. But right now, let me finish, please.
Please start with your answer. I'm just hoping that it is not full of rhetoric. So please continue.
Definitely not, please, See, this is not the, as Mr. Azam Khan said, this is not the first time that we are hearing this, that LET, ISI approaching relief camps and riot victims for recruitment. It was said by Rahul Gandhi, right? Now, it is another issue that why a person who is nobody in the government should be briefed of such sensitive issues. Leave that aside, Now, it looks, now the second time we are getting this news now today through the newspapers, it looks perhaps the intelligence agencies were waiting to prove the heir apparent of Congress's first family right in, please listen carefully, in public perception, and that's what they are trying to do. That I am not for a minute saying that those arrested, as you said now, those arrested are not guilty or innocent, not at all. What I am trying to say is that now who is saying this? The police officer, the officer of the investigating agency? Now my question is that, is it a judicial pronouncement? No, it is not. Both the accused
Mr.
and
Chaudhary,
the investigating
Mr. Chaudhary, I have given you enough time.
Please,
I have given you enough time. I have given you enough time. Have you been to the camps? 1 second.
No,
have you been to the camps?
1 minute, I am finishing.
Has Azam Khan been to any of these camps? Let me, I have given you enough time.
Yes, let me tell you, yes, my president.
I have given you enough time. You have answered from whatever your notes are. I am asking you, Mr. Chaudhary, have you been to these camps?
No, I have to.
Do you know the reality of these camps?
Yes,
has Mulayam Singh Yadav been to these camps? Has Mr. Azam Khan, who is now making these... I have somebody here, Mr. Shehzad Poonawala, who's been to the camps.
Let me answer, ma'am.
Mr. Chaudhary.
One second.
Now I tell you. Let me answer you. Let me answer.
Let me answer.
My Mumbai, Maharashtra.
Mr. Chaudhary.
Now you ask me a question whether I have been to the camp.
Mr. Chaudhary, will you please listen?
My Mumbai, Maharashtra president.
Please, that doesn't matter. Please listen to me now.
Shehzad Poonawala has been at the camps.
Now listen to me.
Is there a possibility?
No, please. Yes, this is not fair.
You are not allowing me to speak. No, vulnerability that these camps face right now, that what these two riot hit victims have been saying, there might be an element of truth to them.
There is absolutely a possibility, as has been indicated by several reports and as has been confirmed by the Delhi Special Cell, that people would be making attempts to lure riot victims, and the reason for that is not just the victimization during the riots, but the double victimization after the riots because of the ignorance and the sheer reluctance of the Samajwadi Party-led government to provide basic relief, compensation and justice. And I must point out to you that Azam Khan, who is the biggest leader of the Muslims of the Samajwadi Party, and whoever this president claims to be, and whoever this Maharashtra president or whoever it is, as a responsible Indian citizen and as a responsible Muslim, have you or your leader visited any of the camps? Forget visiting, he would not even know the names of all the 15 to 17 camps that are operating.
Okay,
you are throwing out people in the bitter winter from these camps, and you are talking here about who's going to lure what. You have no idea what is happening in those camps.
Mr. Chaudhary, my question was twofold.
Yes,
where you got into that long answer, my question was twofold. Why is the first reaction to anything? Let me ask my question, sir. Let me finish my question.
You asked me a question.
Let me finish my question, Mr. Chaudhary.
You asked me a question, let me answer. You asked me a question, let me answer first that. You asked whether I have been to the camps. My Mumbai Maharashtra president, Mr. Abu Asim Azmi, was in the camp yesterday, day before yesterday.
And he said all is well. He said in the camp that all is well.
Through his eyes.
Do you know what Mr. Abu Azmi has said?
I can tell you, I know the condition of the camp.
What do you know? What reality do you know from the camps? Which camp have you visited? And your Abu Azmi has gone to one camp and he has visited a lot of camps? He has just gone to one camp. How many camps has he gone to? You all say that the camps are over and now we are sending all the victims back?
I do not.
Do you have any idea that your administration is saying that no camps exist in Muzaffarnagar? You all have thrown out people from camps of Loi, they have settled in Bhimkhedi. You have thrown out people from Kandla, they have gone and made camps in Kandla. You have thrown out people from Sanjak, they have gone and stayed in Kabristan. What are you saying? How many people have got compensation? How many people have been identified properly?
Okay. Mr. Chaudhary.
I am here to talk or to listen to them.
Mr. Chaudhary.
I am here to talk or listen to them.
Mr. Chaudhary, go ahead.
Now, Shehzad, this is your violent behavior. This way you are talking. We are here to debate something. We are political people, here. And you cannot talk so loudly and win the match, This is not correct, Have the patience to listen to also,
Mr. Chaudhary, please go ahead with the answer.
My question is that, is it a judicial pronouncement? It is not. Both the accused, the arrested ones, and the investigating agency will go to the court to prove their case. And the court will adjudicate. Unfortunately, all the news consumers of our country believe in the printed words as gospel truth, which has been proved many a times bereft of any truth. For example, take the case of Asimanat's confession serving a jail term RRSS
These
man.
points are not relevant.
No, one second. Let me come in here.
No.
Mr. Chaudhary, please. I am giving you again and again. I am giving you time. One second. I am giving you time and again. I am just getting rhetoric from you. I want to ask you two simple questions. Mr. Chaudhary, I want to ask you two simple questions.
I want to prove what is going on in our country.